Jennifer Nadel is a political commentator, co-founder of Compassion in Politics, and joins me now. Morning, Jennifer.
Good morning, Matthew.
Were you, like me, under the impression that standing up to bullies is the thing to do?
I still think it is one of the things to do, but it depends how you do it, particularly in the political arena, which I think is slightly different from the school ground. And this report obviously specifically looked at childhood bullying. But if we look more generally, we know, for example, that appeasement doesn't work. If you give in to bullies, if you give in to strong men, they simply take more and more power. So even if standing up in the short term may not work, what it does do is create a space for others to come forward. And ultimately, that kind of bullying is about an imbalance of power. And so the more that come forward to stand against the aggressor, the more that balance of power shifts. And it's also important to hold the space for what's right and what's morally correct. If everyone crumbles in the face of the bully and there is no one speaking the truth, then the truth gets buried and gets lost, and the bully has won a far bigger battle.
That is a very, very powerful point, if I may say. One of the things I'm noticing from the programme, and I have to say it really did surprise me that all the studies that suggest in a school context that standing up to bullies, it doesn't necessarily work, is the diverse range of experience from people who have been bullied. And it is quite clear, as you sort of alluded to it right at the beginning, that there isn't a one-size-fits-all. Our first guest said there's no silver bullet. That does appear to be the case.
I think that is the case. But if we look at the political system, we have a way of doing politics that is almost designed to increase and amplify bullying. So we have Prime Minister's questions where the loudest voice wins, where shouting, jeering, name-calling, ridiculing are part of the parliamentary process. I mean, that is bullying completely enshrined in the heart of parliamentary democracy. So bullying is systemic within the way we do politics, and that really needs to change, because that's not an effective way to run any organisation, let alone a government. And we can look at the process of whipping, whereby party whips carole and bully, bribe, threaten their members to do what the government wants them to do. And the very name whip comes from the fact that a whip used to be on the wall of a whip's office. So it is very, very explicitly about threatening members of your party to vote with the party, irrespective of what their conscience says or what their constituents might want them to do. So at Compassion in Politics, we want to see that shift away. It's an archaic 18th century approach to politics that has no place in the 21st century. And the most effective way to arrive at the sort of solutions that are needed for our complex, interlocking problems that are really of grave magnitude is to de-escalate, is to have psychologically safe environments where we can think creatively, where we can admit when a mistake's been made, when new solutions can be tried, and if they don't work, we can try something else. But in our heightened, hyper-aggressive, hyper-patriarchal political system, those kind of options aren't available, and it's to the detriment of all of us as citizens and to our country.
Oh, I could listen to you all day, Jennifer, quite frankly. I could listen to you all day. I was at one point going to say to you, sort of rather facetiously, that it almost feels that if you want to get on in the world, calling and demanding change, that's one way of doing it, fighting for change. But change, it seems to happen incredibly slowly in this country. And I could almost, as I was listening to you, think, Parliament it's an opposition, benches in opposition, not a round table like King Arthur. It's all confrontational. And if you want to survive in that kind of arena, and it feels almost like a gladiatorial arena at times, you're going to have to get tough. You're going to have to be aggressive. You're going to have to park some of the principles and beliefs that you might have, or you're going to drown. You're going to be picked on. You're going to be excluded. You're going to die. So whilst I wholeheartedly embrace everything you're calling for, at the moment, the situation we're in is all the things you said: patriarchal, aggressive, driven by bullies, driven by aggression. Maybe we all need to, until the change you want comes, do all the rest of us have to step up, get mean?
Absolutely not, because that's how we have arrived in the position that we're in now. What we need are voices for what we know to be true. The public are craving authenticity. They are craving the truth. And at the moment, all we've got is the bullies sounding authentic. And we need politicians to start speaking more from the heart, which is difficult in that environment because you have party loyalty, you have the fear that you're going to somehow transgress a rule or say something that then backfires. But actually, there are members of Parliament who do speak the truth, who do speak from the heart. And if we look at the assisted dying bill, for example, that was steered through the House of Commons by Kim Leadbeater MP, who was the late Jo Cox's sister, she did it in a very different way. She did it by listening very deeply, by talking to those who disagreed with her. And the debate was of a completely different quality. We heard silence, we heard respect, people were allowed to finish what they were saying. So it is possible. It's not that this is impossible, but we need a cultural shift. And that cultural shift will only happen if enough members of Parliament, enough members of the public demand it.
Agreed.
And also that those who hold power, like the Speaker and the other custodians of our current processes, really listen and get with the programme, because at the moment they're propping up an archaic and very damaging system.
Jennifer Nadel, say it again. Absolute pleasure talking to you this Sunday morning. Really, I'll look further into compassion in politics as well. It seems right up my street. Ben, I can see you hanging on the line in Clacton. I'm going to come to you shortly. But first, it's back to Sinead Carroll for the